Hello students, this is Dr. Shade, founder of this channel. This video is a quick crash course meant for students who already know the topic. If you want a thorough understanding and deep explanation, you must see other videos on this topic in Hindi and English. For notes, MCQs and special questions for NEET, see the link given in the description below. So let's get started. Today we are discussing diseases of the heart and circulation. Welcome to Crack NEET with Dr. Shade. So what diseases are we going to cover today? Coronary artery disease, that is CAD, or atherosclerosis and atheroma, thrombus, thrombosis, embolus or emboli, ischemia, infarction, angina pectoris, heart attacks, silent heart attacks, heart failure, arteriosclerosis, aneurysm, congenital heart disease, heart murmurs, high blood pressure or hypertension, and edema or puffiness. First, coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis or atheroma. The figure shows an artery being blocked by a atherosclerotic plaque. CAD refers to excess deposition of fibrofatty substances, especially cholesterol and triglycerides, in the tunica interna and tunica media of the arteries. Such deposits form atherosclerotic plaques or atheromas in the arteries, especially in the coronary arteries of the heart. The plaques grow into the lumen of the artery, causing narrowing and decrease in blood flow. In extreme cases, these plaques may block the artery completely. Mechanism and pathology of atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis begins in young age, even from birth. Even in a newborn child's autopsy, you will find some atherosclerotic plaques. Atherosclerotic plaques are common in coronary arteries due to the excess turbulence of blood in the coronary arteries due to the constant beating of the heart. Injuries begin with the intima or with endothelial damage. This may extend to the tunica intima, the tunica media, or the smooth muscle. Injuries begin with intimal or endothelial damage. This may extend to the tunica media, that is the smooth muscle of the artery. Platelets will aggregate here and release PDGF, platelet-derived growth factor, in response to the daily wear and tear or micro injuries for the repair of the tissues. Cholesterol and LDL, low density lipoprotein, also gets deposited for cell membrane repair. The CAD gradually increases with and due to age, stress, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, and smoking. These are the risk factors: age, stress, obesity, hypertension, diabetes, smoking, etc., which increase CAD. Let's continue the mechanism. In some people, endothelial damage or the body's repairing responses are abnormally excessive. So, the cholesterol and other tissue or smooth muscle proliferation increases too much in response to injury. This accumulation of substances encroaches on the lumen of the artery to form the atheromatous plaque. This causes blockage of the arteries. Thus, the plaque reduces the blood supply to the heart, causing ischemia, or may completely stop the blood supply due to complete blockage of the arteries. The above developments are all together labeled as coronary artery disease. CAD is seen more in people with stress, obesity, tobacco smoking, high cholesterol, high LDL, that is bad cholesterol, or low HDL, that is good cholesterol. Effects of CAD on the heart. There will be effects even on other organs like the brain, kidney, retina, etc. What are the effects on the heart? It can form thrombus, embolus, cause ischemia, infarction. All this can lead to angina pectoris or chest pain, heart failure, and heart attacks. Thrombus, thrombosis. It is the formation of a blood clot or a thrombus within a blood vessel. It often happens at the site of atherosclerosis or atherosclerotic plaques. It decreases or prevents blood flow to the artery and through the circulatory system of the heart, causing ischemia or infarction. It can also cause a heart attack or heart failure. Embolus, plural emboli. It is an unattached or detached mass of a thrombus that travels through the bloodstream and can clog or block arteries at a site distant from its point of origin. So, thus they are floating thrombi. Thrombi and emboli are common causes of heart attacks. Together, they form what is called the thromboembolic phenomena, which is a common cause of heart attacks. Ischemia. It is inadequate blood flow to an organ or part of the heart caused by obstruction to its blood supply, usually due to coronary artery spasm or thrombosis sitting on a CAD. There is a base of a CAD. On top of that, there is coronary artery spasm or a thrombus or an embolus formation. This can temporarily disturb the function and efficiency of the heart due to the ensuing hypoxia. It can also cause pain, that is angina pectoris. Infarction. Infarction implies death or necrosis of the cells due to total obstruction of blood supply to that region of the heart or any organ or tissue. Typically, this happens by a thrombus or embolus or because of a coronary artery spasm superimposed on a CAD, that is superimposed on a plaque. So, infarction is death or necrosis due to total obstruction of blood flow to the heart. It happens mainly in patients with CAD, but when it is superimposed by a thrombus or a coronary artery spasm. Angina pectoris. Angina is pain, pectoris means chest. It's pain in the chest. It is a medical term for chest pain or discomfort due to coronary heart disease, that is ischemia or infarction. It occurs when the heart muscle doesn't get as much blood as it needs, which causes cellular hypoxia and release of painful toxins by the cardiac cells due to the ensuing anaerobic metabolism. Typically, angina is a warning that a person has got CAD. Angina pectoris worsens on exertion because exertion increases the demands of the heart, and this worsens ischemia. Heart attack. A heart attack is any sudden or accidental dysfunction of the heart. The commonest cause of heart attack is a sudden decrease in blood flow, that is ischemia, or a total stoppage of blood flow, that is infarction, to a portion of the heart, causing cell death and necrosis, mainly in the myocardium. Usually this happens in a small part of the heart or a small segment of the heart. If the whole heart has ischemia, the heart will collapse or go into a cardiac arrest. But usually heart attacks happen in small regions of the heart, so there is cardiac dysfunction, not necessarily death. Heart attacks more commonly happen due to sudden compromise in blood supply due to 1. Coronary artery spasms, or 2. Thrombus or embolus formation. Both these will cause a heart attack, especially if they happen near the site of CAD, atherosclerosis or plaques. Does a heart attack always kill? No. 40 to 70% of patients usually survive the first attack, especially if the patient receives timely emergency medical care. Silent heart attacks. This implies an heart attack without pain or much discomfort. Usually this goes unnoticed, so it is called silent. That is, the patient does not realize that he has had a heart attack. 20 to 30% of all heart attacks are silent, that is, they don't have pain. Why are they silent? The endocardium and the myocardium have no pain receptors. They don't have nerves to carry pain. Hence, if ischemia or infarction happens in these tissues, there is no pain. However, if the necrotic toxins from the damaged heart cells reach the epicardium, that is part of the pericardium, then pain will be sensed because the pericardium has got nerve supply. So, endocardial and myocardial infarcts, which are towards the inner side of the heart, that is subendocardial, usually they don't have pain. But if a myocardial infarct is on the outer side towards the pericardium, then there are high chances that there will be pain. So silent heart attacks are usually subendocardial and painful heart attacks are subpericardial. Severe diabetics also get silent heart attacks often because they have peripheral neuropathy where the sensory nerves are damaged. Heart failure implies the inability of the heart to supply adequate blood to different parts of the body. This happens due to sudden, acute or chronic cardiac dysfunction. Heart failure also does not mean death. It only means an inefficient heart. There are multiple reasons that can cause heart failure, like a heart attack, coronary artery disease, infections of the heart, infections of the pericardium, or severe hypertension. These are causes which can cause your heart to become inefficient. When it is inefficient, it cannot supply adequate blood. We say it is in heart failure. Arteriosclerosis. Sclerosis means hardening. Hardening and loss of elasticity of the arteries is called arteriosclerosis. In arteriosclerosis, calcium salts precipitate in the wall of the arteries along with cholesterol and form thickening or hardening or plaque-like thickening or hardening in the arteries walls. The calcification of the plaques makes the walls of the arteries stiff and rigid. They become non-elastic. So they are more prone to rupture or tear and aneurysms. Aneurysm. It is an abnormal widening or ballooning of a portion of an artery due to weakness in the walls of the blood vessels. An aneurysm can cause rupture and also cause bleeding. It commonly happens in arteriosclerotic arteries because the arteries are inelastic, and if there is more pressure inside, the ballooned part, that is the aneurysm, may tear and cause bleeding. This is an aneurysm. Congenital heart disease. Defects or diseases of the heart which are present from birth are known as congenital heart disease. They could be due to some error in the development of the heart during embryogenesis or fetal life. The common causes are genetic, some infections or chromosomal abnormalities. Example, a PFO or a patent foramen ovale, a hole which remains in the interatrial wall even after birth. Usually this doesn't cause problems because the pressure on the both sides of the atria are equal, so usually there is no mixing of blood in spite of a hole in the atria. These people can survive throughout life with a patent foramen ovale. PDA, patent ductus arteriosus. Ductus arteriosus is a connection between the pulmonary artery and the aorta in the fetus. After birth, when the child takes his first breath, blood enters the lungs via the pulmonary artery and there is no need for this connection with the aorta. So the ductus arteriosus closes. However, after birth, if a child does not take a good breath, not able to breathe, has some pulmonary problem, then blood cannot reach the lungs because the lungs are collapsed. In this case, the pulmonary blood will have to flow to the aorta. It does so via a patent ductus arteriosus. So a PDA is a ductus arteriosus which remains patent or open even after birth. Naturally, this causes mixing of blood between the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So the child after birth will continue to get mixed blood, which will be slightly hypoxic like it was in fetal life. VSD or ventricular septal defect. This is an incompletely developed septum between the ventricles or a hole in the septum. It is similar to a reptilian heart, but in humans the ventricular septum should be complete because the pressure on the two sides of the ventricles are different. The left ventricle has higher pressure, the right ventricle has lower pressure. So if there is a hole between the ventricles, there will be mixing of blood from the left ventricle to the right ventricle. Again, this will cause mixing, so there will be hypoxic or mixed blood reaching to the child. So these examples of congenital heart disease are actually holes in the heart. in the colloquial term, and here there is mixing and partially hypoxic blood reaching to the child. Here they are mentioned because these are three conditions which you can find even after childhood, sometimes in adulthood. They are compatible with life. There are thousands of other congenital heart diseases where the child may not survive. Hence, you don't see those conditions in the population. Heart murmurs. These are abnormal sounds from the heart heard through a stethoscope. Normally, through a stethoscope, a doctor can hear the first and the second heart sound. But if there are other than this first and second heart sounds, they are called heart murmurs. They are usually due to abnormalities of the valves or due to congenital heart disease. The abnormalities of the valves can be due to multiple reasons like infection or even some congenital abnormalities. So heart murmurs are abnormal heart sounds. Edema or puffiness. This is fluid accumulation in the tissues resulting in a local or generalized swelling of the tissues and the body. The causes are many. Example, lymph capillaries will fail to return lymph to the blood, or even there may be seeping of blood or plasma from the venous capillaries into the tissues. Two common causes. 1. Low BCOP, blood colloidal osmotic pressure. This happens due to low albumin levels, which are common in liver disease, kwashiorkor, malnutrition, etc. Albumin is a colloid, causes blood colloidal osmotic pressure, which helps to retain water in the plasma. But if the albumin levels are low, the water will not be retained and it will seep out into the tissues, causing edema. Congestive heart failure. Here, the pressure on the venous side of the circulatory system increases. This causes back pressure in the capillaries and the fluid will seep out of the capillaries back into the tissues, causing edema. There is a third cause, important cause for NEAT, that is elephantiasis. Here, the organism, filaria, the filaria larva in the organism lives in the capillaries, the lymphatic capillaries. They get blocked. When they get blocked, the pressure increases and again there is seeping of fluid into the tissues. When it becomes very large, it is called elephantiasis. So the common causes of edema are low BCOP, congestive cardiac failure, or elephantiasis because of filariasis. High blood pressure or hypertension. Blood pressure, it is the pressure or the tension exerted by the circulating blood on the walls of the blood vessels, especially on the arteries. This pressure or tension is generated by the pumping action of the heart and the elasticity of the blood vessels. The instrument required to measure blood pressure is the sphygmomanometer. When measured by this instrument, normal blood pressure is 120 by 80 millimeters of mercury, where 120 is the systolic pressure and 80 is the diastolic pressure. A person is said to have hypertension if his blood pressure remains chronically above 140 by 100 millimeters of mercury, 140 systolic and above 100 millimeters of mercury diastolic. When the pressure remains above these levels, there are damages which happen to different parts of the body, especially to the brain, retina, kidneys and the heart itself. The common causes of high blood pressure. There are thousands of causes. We must know two groups of disorders mainly. Lifestyle and diet disorders. Example, high salt intake, mental stress, obesity, high cholesterol, tobacco, sedentary lifestyles. These are lifestyle and diet related causes of high BP. Renal disorders, especially when there is decrease in glomerular function. There is decrease in urine output, so the urine output decreases and the blood volume will increase. When the blood volume increases, the pressure in the arteries will increase, causing high BP. So here there is retention of water causing high BP. Effects of complications due to hypertension. Hypertension leads to heart diseases and disease of the brain, retina, kidneys. It can affect every part of the body, and a person who is a chronic hypertensive will finally die of multi-organ failure.
I hope that was a good revision. If you want a more thorough and deeper understanding of this topic, see other videos on this channel in Hindi come English. If you have any queries, you can put them in the comments below. For more such videos, like this video and subscribe to this channel.